Arman's heart thudded painfully in his chest as he forced a steady voice. Mom stepped out for a while, Dad. She had some errands to run. His eyes flickered toward the closed bedroom door, the one he had just hurriedly cleared of any sign that Lena had been there. Rayhan's gaze narrowed, sharp and calculating. He wasn't convinced. His years of instinct told him something was off, more than just his wife's absence. The faint scent of unfamiliar perfume, the hurriedly moved furniture, all spoke volumes to him. He took a slow step forward, the floor creaking beneath his weight like a warning. You expect me to believe that? Rayhan asked, his voice low and cautious. You've been acting strange lately. Tell me, Arman, what are you hiding? A flush of panic spread across Arman's face, but he clenched his fists and met his father's eyes. Nothing, Dad. I'm not hiding anything. But the lie tasted bitter in his mouth. Just then, his phone buzzed again, Lena's name flashing on the screen. He slipped away, quietly to answer, lowering his voice. They're getting suspicious, she whispered, voice trembling. I overheard Dad talking on the phone earlier. He's been asking around about me. Arman swallowed hard, the pressure mounting. His father's distrust wasn't just a passing shadow, it was a looming storm threatening to break apart everything he held dear. Returning to the room, Arman tried to maintain a calm demeanor. Rayhan's eyes followed him like a hawk, probing for any sign of deception. You're wasting time, Rayhan said sharply. If there's something you're hiding, now's the time to come clean. Otherwise, I'll find out myself. Arman's mind raced. He knew that revealing the truth about Lena could ignite his father's wrath, yet hiding it was becoming impossible. The tension stretched taut between them, a fragile thread ready to snap. Behind the scenes, Lena's presence had become more complicated than Arman anticipated. Unbeknownst to him, she harbored secrets of her own, secrets that could change the course of their relationship forever. Meanwhile, Rayhan paced the room, recalling past wounds that made him wary. He remembered the betrayal of a close friend years ago, a lesson that had scarred him deeply and shaped his rigid worldview. His suspicion was born from pain, from a desperate desire to protect his son from heartbreak. Arman's thoughts drifted to the stolen moments he shared with Lena, her laughter, the warmth of her touch, the whispered promises they made. Could those promises withstand the growing shadow of doubt cast by his father's relentless gaze? Just as Rayhan seemed about to press further, a sudden knock at the door startled them both. It was the neighbor, casually stopping by, breaking the heavy silence. Rayhan's attention shifted momentarily, but the tension did not lessen. Arman realized that this delicate balance was fragile and that his world was on the verge of collapse. The father's eyes lingered on Arman a moment longer, filled with suspicion and unspoken questions. Remember, Rayhan said quietly, I'm watching, don't forget that. With that, he turned and left the room, leaving Arman alone with his swirling thoughts and the terrifying uncertainty of what was to come. Days passed like a fragile thread stretched taut, each moment weighted with unspoken fears and cautious glances. Arman found himself walking on eggshells, the secret of his love growing heavier with every heartbeat. But the fragile facade was about to shatter. One evening, as twilight slipped through the window, Rayhan's tone shifted from suspicion to confrontation. He called Arman into the living room, his eyes burning with an intensity that left no room for evasion. I found something, Rayhan began, holding up a small, folded note that Arman recognized instantly. It was in Lena's handwriting, a message meant to be private, now exposed under his father's unforgiving scrutiny. Arman's breath caught. The note revealed more than just affection. It hinted at plans and meetings kept hidden from Rayhan, and worse, from Arman himself. A wave of betrayal crashed over him, unexpected and painful. How long have you been hiding this from me? Rayhan's voice cracked with a mixture of anger and hurt. I've tried to protect you, Arman, but you've been sneaking around behind my back. Arman's mind raced. He wanted to defend himself, to explain that his intentions were pure, that Lena was the only light in his life. But now doubt crept in. What if Lena had her own reasons for secrecy? What if the truth was darker than he imagined. He hesitated, then confessed softly, "I didn't want to disappoint you, Dad. I thought I was doing what was right." Rayhan's stern expression softened for a moment, revealing the pain beneath. "Son, love isn't just about secrecy. It's about trust, and I fear that trust has been broken." At that moment, Lena entered the room, her eyes brimming with tears. The tension was palpable. She took a shaky breath and revealed a truth Arman hadn't expected. "There's something I need to tell you, Arman," she whispered, voice trembling. "I wasn't completely honest. I've been hiding a part of my past, a mistake that could change everything between us." The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily. Arman's heart ached, torn between the love he felt and the sting of betrayal. The dream he had nurtured now seemed fragile, threatened by shadows he hadn't seen before. Rayhan looked at Lena, his anger giving way to cautious curiosity. "What is it you're hiding?" Lena swallowed hard and shared the secret she feared would shatter their world. The revelation was painful, but it was her truth, a past marked by hardship and regret, one she had tried desperately to leave behind. Arman listened, torn between disbelief and compassion. The woman he loved was not perfect, but her honesty sparked a flicker of hope. Rayhan sighed deeply, the burden of years evident in his weary eyes. "We all carry scars, Lena. What matters is how we face them." The confrontation left the three of them standing at a crossroads, uncertain of the future, but bound by a fragile hope. Arman's world had changed, but in the turmoil, a lesson began to emerge about love, trust, and the painful yet necessary path to forgiveness. The following evening, the house was cloaked in a heavy silence that pressed against Arman's chest like a weight. Rayhan sat rigidly in the armchair, a folded letter in his hand. The same letter Arman had tried desperately to hide. Its contents were undeniable now. Arman entered the room cautiously, his steps hesitant as if crossing a fragile line he wasn't sure would hold. Rayhan's eyes, dark and unwavering, met his immediately. "This," Rayhan began, his voice cold but controlled, "was slipped under my door yesterday." He held up the letter, a note in Lena's unmistakable handwriting. "Care to explain why you're hiding correspondence like this?" Arman's throat tightened. He knew the letter was more than innocent words. It hinted at secret meetings, veiled promises, and plans kept from both father and son. A betrayal worse than mere disobedience. I didn't want to worry you," Arman said quietly, struggling to keep his voice steady. "Lena and we wanted to keep things private." Rayhan's gaze sharpened. "Private or secret? You think I'm blind to what's going on under my own roof?" Before Arman could respond, the door creaked open, and Lena stepped inside, her face pale, but determined. "It's time you both knew the truth," she said softly. Arman's heart pounded. This was the moment he had feared, yet knew was inevitable. Lena took a deep breath. "There's something I've been hiding. Not from you, Arman, but from your father. It's about my past, a mistake I made that I thought I left behind." Rayhan's eyes flickered with skepticism and a touch of anger. "Mistake? What kind of mistake?" Her voice faltered, but she pressed on. "Years ago, I was involved in something I'm not proud of. It's why I've been cautious, why I never wanted you, Arman, or your father to know." Arman looked from Lena to his father, a storm of emotions swirling inside him. Shock, confusion, betrayal, but also sympathy. This woman he loved had carried a heavy burden alone. Rayhan leaned forward, voice softer but firm. "We all have pasts. What matters is honesty. You should have trusted us." Lena nodded, tears brimming. "I was scared. I didn't want to lose Arman." Arman felt his anger begin to ebb, replaced by a deep sadness. The woman he trusted, who had been his refuge, was flawed, human in every painful way. "I wish you had told me," Arman whispered, "but I want to understand. I want to try." Rayhan's expression softened, the hard edges of his disappointment giving way to cautious hope. "This family will heal if we face the truth together, but betrayal, even when unintentional, leaves scars. The room felt lighter yet fragile, a tentative truce hanging in the air. The secret was out, but the real test, the battle for trust, had only just begun. Arman realized that love was not simple or perfect. It was complicated, messy, and sometimes painful. But it was also worth fighting for. The air in the room still carried the weight of unspoken fears, but a fragile sense of understanding had begun to take root. Arman stood between two worlds, his father's guarded skepticism and Lena's trembling honesty. Lena's eyes met Arman's, silently pleading for forgiveness and trust. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered. "I thought hiding my past was protecting us, but I see now it only made things worse." Arman's heart ached with conflicted emotions. The love he felt for Lena was undeniable, yet the sting of betrayal lingered, coloring every memory with doubt. He took a slow breath, steadying himself. "I appreciate your honesty," he said quietly, "but trust is fragile. It will take time to rebuild what's been broken." Rayhan, who had been silently observing, nodded solemnly. "Son, I was angry because I wanted to shield you from pain. But life isn't without mistakes. What defines us is how we face them." The three of them shared a moment of silence, a rare pause in the storm that had threatened to tear their lives apart. Arman turned to his father. "Dad, I want you to know that I'm grateful for your concern, even if it sometimes feels overwhelming. I'm growing up, and I need to make my own choices, even if they come with risks." Rayhan's stern face softened into something resembling acceptance. "I'm learning too. Maybe I've been too harsh, but I only want what's best for you." Lena reached out, gently placing her hand on Arman's. "We can't erase the past, but we can choose how it shapes our future." Arman squeezed her hand, a silent promise that he was willing to try. The room, once heavy with suspicion and secrets, now felt lighter, fragile, yet hopeful. They knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust, once broken, demanded patience, effort, and forgiveness. Over the next weeks, small steps brought them closer. Honest conversations replacing guarded silence, shared moments rebuilding bonds, and the gradual acceptance that love was imperfect but worth fighting for. Arman learned that love is not just passion or secrecy. It's honesty, vulnerability, and sometimes facing uncomfortable truths together. His relationship with Lena became stronger, tempered by trials and honest reckoning. Rayhan, too, began to loosen his grip, understanding that control could never replace trust. His protective instincts softened into support, a foundation rather than a cage. In the end, the story was not just about betrayal or secrets, but about growth as a son, a lover, and a father. Arman looked out the window one evening, the sunset casting warm hues over the horizon. He knew the journey was far from over, but for the first time, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Because sometimes the greatest battles aren't against others, but within ourselves. And sometimes love's true test is learning to forgive both others and ourselves.